For the first time ever, a North Korean lieutenant general reveals the classified war plan that nearly triggered World War III in 2025. This isn't speculation. This is the man who drafted the operational orders for Yeonpyeong Island, the Kyonin incident, and was handed nuclear launch codes on May 21, 2025. He smuggled out a USB drive containing 15 nuclear strike targets, troop deployment maps, and simulation results showing 500,000 projected casualties. What he's about to tell you has never been shared with Western media. For more exclusive testimonies like this, subscribe and become part of our investigative community. Together, we uncover the stories that need to be told. Let me start with who I am. I was the director of operations for the General Staff of the Korean People's Army. My rank, Lieutenant General. 3 stars, a high position. I spent 30 years in the military. 15 of those years went into planning operations. You've probably heard about these on the news. The Yeonpyeong Island shelling, the Cheonan warship incident, the DMZ landmine attack. All of those went through my hands. Cruel work? Maybe. But back then, it was my duty. I believed I was defending my country. Then came December 15th, 2024. A single document that day changed my entire life. It was around 10 a.m. The operations conference room at the General Staff headquarters. High ceilings. A map of the Korean Peninsula hanging on the wall. The door opened. General Pak Jong-chon, the chief of the General Staff, walked in. He was holding a red envelope. A red envelope. In North Korea, that means top secret. 20 of us generals sat at the table. Everyone looked tense. Comrade Pak opened the envelope and pulled out a document. Comrades, his voice was shaking. In 30 years of military service, I'd never seen the Chief of Staff tremble. Special Order Number 2024 Yuwasvenanin from the Supreme Commander. The title is, he paused, took a deep breath, then spoke. Operational Plan for the Great War of National Unification, subtitle to be executed in 2025. The room went silent. War for Unification. Execution. This wasn't a training exercise. Comrades, this is not a drill. This is real combat. Someone coughed. Nerves. Comrade Pak kept reading. D-Day, June 25, 25. The 75th anniversary of the Korean War. Phase 1, full-scale breakthrough of the DMZ. Phase 2, occupy the Seoul metropolitan area within 3 days. Phase 3, end the war before you. SE. Reinforcements arrive. Key method, neutralize U.S. military bases with preemptive nuclear strikes. When I heard nuclear weapons, my blood ran cold. The supreme dignity has made the decision. Complete unification in our generation. After the meeting, I went home, looked in the mirror. A stranger stared back at me. I'm a man who creates wars. My wife had set dinner on the table. Honey, let's eat. Okay. I picked up my spoon. My hand shook so badly I spilled rice. What's wrong? Are you sick? No. I'm fine. A lie. I didn't sleep that night. Through the window, I could see Pyongyang's nightscape, city lights twinkling. 1 million people living down there, sleeping, unaware. Next summer, war comes. How many of them will survive? Around 4 a.m., my wife woke up. Honey, why aren't you sleeping? I think there's going to be a war. What? Nothing. Go back to sleep. But she couldn't sleep either. She just lay there next to me, eyes wide open. That's when it started. When I began drafting the war plan, the new year arrived, 2025, 6 months until D-Day. Early January, the first operations meeting convened. Comrade Director, report on the status of troops deployed to Russia. I stood and gave my report. Currently, 50,000 troops are deployed to Russia. They rotate in shifts. Purpose, officially to support Russia. But I turned to the next page. The real purpose is to gain modern combat experience. Do you know why North Korea sent troops to Russia? Ukraine was our training ground. We were collecting real combat data. Soldiers came back with lessons. Drone warfare, modern war is fought with drones. Urban combat tactics, how to fight inside buildings. Electronic warfare countermeasures, how to jam enemy communications. NATO weapons systems analysis, how Western weapons operate. I read reports from soldiers returning from Russia. Drones are the scariest. They come silently and explode. Western weapons are more accurate than we expected. Every shot hits. Conventional warfare is impossible. We'll lose. So what was the conclusion? Nuclear weapons were the only option. It was around February. Major General Kim Young-chol, a deployment unit commander, came to see me. Privately. Comrade Director, let's talk for a moment. We went to a nearby tea house. Not one run by the Security Bureau, a regular one. Comrade Kim took a sip of tea and said, "Too many of our boys died. In Ukraine, officially unreported, but I saw it myself." His hands were shaking. Over 3,000 killed. More than 7,000 wounded. Some deserted. I don't even know how many. 3,000? Is this preparation for unification? Killing our young people is preparation for unification? I couldn't answer. That evening, I returned to headquarters. An urgent order was waiting. All Ukraine deployment units returned by June to be deployed as vanguard forces for southern invasion. They were putting the combat experienced ones at the front. That night, I called my son. My son is a captain in the People's Army, 25 years old, serving in a frontline unit. "Son, it's me." "Father, what is it?" "Nothing. Just wanted to hear your voice." "Son, I'm sorry. Why are you saying that all of a sudden?" "It's nothing. Take care of yourself." After I hung up, tears came. Next summer, that boy goes to war. Front lines. Will he come back alive? It was mid-February. A joint meeting between the General Staff and the Strategic Forces Command. Do you know what the Strategic Forces are? The unit in charge of nuclear weapons. I walked into the conference room. A map of the entire Korean peninsula hung on the wall. The southern map. General Kim Rak-gyum, commander of the Strategic Forces, stood there with a laser pointer. "Comrades, we've designated 15 primary strike targets." The laser began moving across the map. 1 Pyeongtaek-U, Sa, military base. 2 Osan Air Force Base. 3 Gunsan Air Force Base. 4 Daegu-U, S, military base. 5 Busan Operations Command. It continued. 6 The Blue House. 7 Sejong City. 8 Seoul Yongsan. 9 Gwangju. Daesan Tae, Tenganganemong. 11 Pohang. 12 Jinham. 13 Sokcho. 14 Jeju. 15 Gimpo Airport. We'll use 10 kiloton tactical nuclear weapons. This will delay Seiyu reinforcements by 72 hours. I raised my hand. "Comrade Commander, what are the expected civilian casualties?" The room went quiet. Comrade Kim flipped through documents and said, "Estimated deaths, approximately 500,000. 500,000. Seoul's population is 10 million. 500,000 out of that. Any more questions?" No one raised their hand. Nuclear physicist Comrade Pak reported, "Nuclear use will produce radioactive fallout. Depending on wind direction, it could reach our territory." How dangerous. Cancer rates could increase by more than tenfold, especially in children. The Chief of Staff said, "We must accept it. For national unification." After the meeting, I went to the bathroom, bent over the toilet and threw up. 500,000 people, our own people, speaking the same language, eating the same food, singing the same songs. I heard someone coughing in the next stall. I'm not the only one feeling this way. The next day, I received orders to draft the final operational plan. Title: Nuclear Preemptive Strike and Surprise. Southern Invasion for Swift National Unification. I worked on it for a week, pulling all-nighters. When to attack where? Which units go where? When to launch nuclear weapons. I planned everything. With my own hands. After finishing the plan, my hands felt blood-stained. Even though the war hadn't started yet, by March, the atmosphere inside the military started changing. As the war plan became more concrete, opposition emerged. One day, General Ri Yong-gil, the Army commander, stormed into the Chief of Staff's office. The door didn't close properly. I could hear everything from the hallway. "Comrade, this is a suicide operation." Comrade Ri's voice was loud. "Do you think America will just sit still? If we use nukes, they'll fire back. It's an order from the Supreme Commander. The Supreme Commander has lost his mind. Are all 2 million of our troops supposed to die?" Shocking words. In North Korea, saying the Supreme Commander has lost his mind. I left the area quickly. Couldn't let anyone think I heard that. But the story spread fast. 2 factions formed within the military. Pro-war faction, Chief of General Staff, Strategic Forces Commander, Security Command Commander. These people were close to Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un. Anti-war faction, Army Commander, Air Force Commander, Navy Commander, Wisha Yarinram. These people were responsible for actual combat. One day in April, Comrade Ri called me. A small restaurant on the outskirts of Pyongyang. Off hours. "Comrade Director, let's have tea." After we sat down, Comrade Ri looked around and spoke quietly. "We need to take action, don't we?" "What do you mean?" "We need to stop the Supreme Commander. By other means." "Other means." Everyone knew what that meant. I think about it. Your son is a soldier too, isn't he? If you don't want him to die, The moment he mentioned my son, my heart sank. I'll think about it. Decide quickly. We don't have time. I came home. My wife had prepared dinner. Honey, our son called today. What did he say? Training is too hard. They train day and night now. War preparation. Orders to intensify frontline unit training had been issued. Mom, is there going to be a war? Everyone's talking about it. My wife's voice trembled. No, it's just training. A lie. That night, I couldn't sleep. Comrade Ree's words kept circling in my head. Should I act? Should I join the coup? But if it fails, my entire family dies. Around 3 a.m., a text came to my phone. From Comrade Ree. Let's meet tomorrow. I hope you've decided. My hands trembled. Then 3 days later, suddenly an announcement came out. Army Commander Comrade Ree Yong-gil relieved due to health reasons. Health reasons? Nonsense. He'd been purged. The next day, I called Comrade Ree's home phone. The customer is not answering. The security bureau had taken him. From that day on, I was followed too. April passed. May arrived. Less than 2 months until D-Day. War preparations accelerated. April preparations. Frontline ammunition supplies doubled. DMZ, mine removal operations covert. Fighter jet maintenance rate reached 95%. 200,000 reservists secretly mobilized. May final checks. All Russian deployment units returned by May 15th. 12 nuclear launch platforms deployed forward. Special Forces infiltration routes finalized. Chemical weapons ready. My desk was buried under operational plans. Seoul 72-hour occupation operation. Blue House decapitation strike. Incheon port landing prevention. Busan siege and annihilation. Every night I ran computer simulations. The results were always similar. Scenario 1, nuclear preemptive strike succeeds U.A.S. Counterattack, North Korea annihilated. Scenario 2, nuclear strike fails, conventional war, North Korea defeated. Scenario 3, nuclear success and quick war termination. International isolation, North Korea collapses. In every case, we couldn't win, but orders kept coming. May 21st, final operational briefing. Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un came in person. The conference room door opened. The Supreme Leader entered. We all stood and applauded. Comrades, sit! The Supreme Leader stood at the front. His expression was resolute. 75 years ago, our ancestors failed to complete what we will now finish. The generals applauded, but their eyes looked dead. The Supreme Leader looked at me. Comrade Director of Operations. Yes, Supreme Leader. Do we have a chance of winning? My throat tightened. I will do my best. I asked about our chances. The room fell silent. Yes, Supreme Leader. We do. A lie. After the briefing, the Chief of Staff called me aside. He handed me a black bag. Final nuclear launch codes. Don't lose it. Understood. The bag felt heavy. Inside were the lives of 500,000 people. That night, I opened the bag. One A4 sheet of paper. Dense with numbers and codes. Nuclear preemptive strike execution code. This single sheet of paper could start a war. My hands shook. I dropped the paper. Looking at the paper on the floor, I thought, what if I tear this up? But I couldn't. If I did, I'd be executed on the spot. I stared at that paper until dawn. The night of May 25th, 1 month until D-Day, I sat alone in my office. The black bag on my desk. Inside were the nuclear launch codes. Execute this and 500,000 people die. Our own people. I looked at family photos on my phone. My son, 25, Army captain. My daughter, 22, Kim Il-sung University student. My wife, Pyongyang teacher. What happens when war breaks out? My son dies fighting on the front lines. My daughter gets conscripted. My wife might die in Pyongyang bombings. And the people in the South. Somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's parents. Why should we kill them? Unification. What kind of unification is worth 1 million deaths? I took out my phone, secretly photographed the documents. My hands shook. The photos came out blurry. I took several more. If caught, I die. Execution. But why did I do it? I don't really know. I just thought, someone needs to know about this madness. Around 4 a.m., Security Bureau agents passed through the hallway. Footsteps getting closer. They stopped outside my office door. My breath caught. A knock. Comrade Director, are you there? Yes, I'm here. Patrol. Everything all right? Yes. The footsteps faded. My heart was pounding. The next day, my wife asked, Honey, what happens to us? If war breaks out? You know, don't you, when the war starts? You don't need to know. Is our son going to die? Tears welled up in my wife's eyes. I held her. I'm sorry. That was all I could say. That night, I made a decision. To escape, I had a broker's contact from an old business trip to China. I called from a payphone. Hello? This is Ri Cholsu. Do you remember me? Acha, General. What's this about? I have something to sell. To the highest bidder. Silence on the other end. What kind of something? North Korea's war plans. Nuclear launch codes included. When will you leave? June 5th. As soon as possible. Understood. I'll prepare. After hanging up, all strength left my body. There's no going back now. The morning of June 5th. 20 days until D-Day. I'm going to inspect the Kaesong frontline units. Comrade Director, the Security Bureau will accompany you. Not necessary. This is classified operations. I push through with my authority as Director of Operations. Alone. Just one driver and one guard. In the car, one black bag. Inside, a USB drive and documents. Nuclear launch codes. Complete war plans. Unity deployment maps. Simulation results. That was everything. It took 2 hours to reach Kaesong. Looking out the window, soldiers were training in the fields. Young kids. Those kids will soon go to war. 2 p.m. Arrived at the Kaesong frontline unit. Comrades, wait in the car while I inspect the unit. But Comrade Director, that's an order. I entered the unit conference room. Held a meeting for 2 hours. For real. I needed an alibi for when they investigate later. Fury, 4 p.m. Said I was going to the bathroom. Slipped out the back door. The broker's vehicle was waiting. Hurry! Got in the car. We drove off. 40 kilometers from Kaesong to Panmunjom. The broker used a civilian control zone bypass route. Around 5 p.m., voices crackled over the radio. Search for the Director of Operations. Immediately. They knew. Can't you go faster? This is as fast as it gets. 5:30 p.m., 3 kilometers from the military demarcation line. A checkpoint appeared. ID check. The broker handed over forged identification. The soldier looked suspicious. Wait, let me verify. The broker pulled out a gun. Bang and debris you want. Soldier fell. Sorry, run. Alarms blared. We got out of the car. Started running. I could see the DMZ fence. A hole the broker had cut earlier. Crawled through. Behind me, pursuit vehicles. Gunshots. Flares lit up the sky. Comrade Lieutenant General, stop. My subordinates. But I couldn't stop. The military demarcation line. I saw the marker. Crossed it. Osertion Forenum. South Korea. A loudspeaker from the South Korean GP. Stop. Put your hands up and walk slowly. I pulled out the USB drive. Held it above my head. I am the Director of Operations of the Korean People's Army General Staff. I'm defecting. I brought war intelligence. South Korean soldiers ran over. Guns aimed at me, one asked. When is the war? June 25th. 20 days left. The soldier's face turned white. I was brought to South Korea's National Intelligence Service, somewhere in Seoul. I don't know the exact location. The NIS director came in person. Will you give me the USB? I handed it over. He plugged it into a computer. Opened the files. The NIS director's face hardened. Is this real? Real. I drafted the plan myself. 15 nuclear preemptive strike targets? Yes. Wesuwo, M-Wes. Bases and major government facilities. Expected deaths. 800,000. The conference room went quiet. An official asked, can this information stop the war? It has to. If we don't, the Korean Peninsula becomes a sea of fire. From that day, everything moved fast. Joint SAES, intelligence agency meetings. Uroku, Saru, military authority briefings. Blue House security meetings. I handed over all the information I had. June 11 Uroku, yes. Joint nuclear response drills conducted. June 15 AU, Asatidias. Strategic assets deployed to the Korean Peninsula. June 18th, UN Security Council emergency meeting. June 21st, North Korean military mobilization order withdrawn, unofficial confirmation. June 25th arrived. That morning, I turned on the television. Nothing happened. No war. The NIS official called. We stopped it. North Korea canceled the plan. After hanging up, tears came. I saved 500,000 people. But I watched North Korean Central Television News. Traitor Ri Cholsu and his associates designated as enemies of the people. Entire family to be punished. My family. My wife's son, daughter. And my siblings, nephews, nieces, relatives. All sent to political prison camps. I heard rumors my son was publicly executed. Unconfirmed information, but probably true. Every night, my son appears in my dreams. Father, why did you abandon me? I'm sorry, son. I was proud of you, father. But now I'm a traitor's son. When I wake up, my pillow is soaked. The NIS official asked, do you regret it? Yes, every day. If you could choose again? I looked out the window. The Seoul streets were peaceful, people walking and smiling, children playing. If war had broken out, they'd all be dead. I'd do the same thing. Really? Because 500,000 lives matter more than my family. Not a lie. But my heart aches. Every day. Now I live in Seoul. From my apartment window, I look north. My family's beyond there. Are they alive? When unification comes, will I see them again? Yesterday, my mother appeared in my dream. Son, you did well. You stopped the war. Mother, I abandoned you. No. You saved many other mothers. I woke up crying. Everyone, I stopped the war. On June 25, 2025, war did not break out. But the war plan still exists. North Korea will try again someday. And I testify here how horrific war is. What it means for 500,000 people to die. We are the same people. Unification must come through peace, not war. That's all I can say.